All right, hey guys, Jerry from Showtime Audio. We have an interesting project in here today. So we have this beautiful 01 911 Carrera 4 off-road edition. So as you can see, the vehicle's been lifted. It's got upgraded suspension. It's got the crash bars, both front and rear. Our buddies over at Midwest Performance built this a few years ago and have taken it all over the place, just to tons of tracks, and just really put it through its paces. Now the car is actually being sold. It's going to a client in Colorado, but the client, before it leaves, he wants to put in a modern radio. So it has the old PCM, which is just a very outdated navigation radio in it. So we're gonna put a Porsche Classic, which is a Porsche part that gives you a modern radio, which gives you modern Apple CarPlay, navigation, all that good stuff. Obviously, this is the new radio. It says Porsche right on it. And as you can see, it fills the space perfectly. It's made for this vehicle. The other thing that it adds is this media box. So you have phone port. So for your Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, this is your auxiliary USB. Now in the previous installation, this is where the nav unit lived. And obviously the doubled-in radio lived here. So we replaced this with the OEM Porsche Pocket and then the radio as well. This install is a little bit tricky. There are a lot of parts and pieces that you have to get in order to make it work properly. It's plug and play. Again, I love that word, but there's still a ton of things and features. There's pins you have to move. There's settings that you have to change. I'm not a fan of that word because it gives the impression that it's easy or that anybody can do it. Technically, yes, but the problem is not the plug and play part. The problem is the settings, the moving of pins, the specialty parts that you need that don't come in the box because they're specific to the vehicle, the trim level, and in this case, the amp level. So this vehicle comes with either bass audio, ASK audio, or Bose audio. So depending on which trim level you have, depends on the parts that you need and the modifications that you have to make to pin locations, the amplifier, all kinds of stuff in the vehicle. All right, so obviously when you boot it up, the Porsche Shield comes up and we're gonna give the radio a second to boot. The phone starts charging, bam, Apple CarPlay. But it's super responsive, image quality is great, and then charging as well as being able to use the Apple CarPlay. So now you have access to Apple Maps, Google Maps, Waze, those, 3 navigation systems. Now, the unit does have the ability to add nav native to the unit. There's a nav button, and then there's a little SD card that you load, which is the maps, so that the unit will have its native nav. In other words, regardless of the phone being plugged in, you would have navigation. The client opted not for that because, again, we have 3 different navigation apps that we can use, so there's no real need for that. Plus, the maps are typically outdated and the graphics are not great. Another one of the things that we did a little different is the way the kit comes is it comes with this little pod for the microphone. You're supposed to just stick it up here. Not a fan of that. So in the stock vehicle, this is normally a blank, but we took the entire cluster out and embedded the microphone in here. So now the nice thing about that, instead of being kind of down here and it kind of like just faces up, it's here and pointed at the driver, right? So like when you're talking, the mic is roughly aimed at your face, which obviously gives you better sound. This car is not the quietest car in the world. Engine's right behind you. So that definitely helps in the sound quality of when you're using the microphone. So in this vehicle, we're also able to add Sirius XM. So you hit the Sirius XM icon and bam, Sirius XM will come up. Right now we have no signal because of where we're parked. You would get the previous channel and you could preset all your channels. So again, it gives you all the modern tech of a brand new car, but still the look of classic Porsche.
Visit our website at showtimeaudiochicago.com.